Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I have been wanting to do this video with this round out of that firearm for a very long time. I got the P229 last year. I learned that it shot 9, 40, and 357 SIG. I absolutely love the 357 SIG, and I would say the majority, 99.9% of the comments about 357 SIG, other than it being expensive, it is one of the best rounds out there out of a handgun. And I've been wanting to do the Federal HSTs for a long time. I started with the Spear Gold Dot, I did the SIG V Crown, I did the Remington Golden Saber. I have the HSTs, and then the Hornady Custom, and then the Hornady Critical Defense left, other than, you know, I could probably do Underwoods and stuff like that. But HSTs, probably that and the Spear Gold Dot are the best self-defense rounds on the market in terms of expansion, not penetration. And this is a 124 grain projectile, and it is projected on the box to be traveling at 1150 feet per second. It does not say what length barrel it came out of. This was the unicorn that I could not find locally until just a couple of weeks ago. This is the Federal HST in 40. It is 180 grains, and it is traveling at 1010 feet per second. And then the piece de resistance is the 125 grain SIG, 357 SIG, and this is traveling at 1360 feet per second. As always, we're using the P229. I've got a Barstow 9mm conversion barrel in there, as well as the SIG 40 and 357 SIG barrels from SIG. We're going to put 5 rounds of each through the chronograph and see what the speeds are, and then we'll move on to the ballistic gel test. I brought 2 gels this time, but I did not bring any denim. I'm going to have to do that at a later date when I start comparing 357 SIG versus 357 SIG. So without further ado, let's get some speeds. This is the 124 grain 9mm. 1150, 1132, 1153, 1138, 1113. So that last one was a little slow, a little lower than the advertised of 1150. That first shot was right there on the money. Let's load up the 40 and see what those speeds are. Okay, this is the 180 grain 40, 1010 feet per second. $991, $989, $1005, $988, $996. So right around that 1010 mark, that was pretty darn consistent. I actually didn't get an average on the 9mm, so I'm gonna just get the average of the 9 and then the 40. Back in just a second. The average on the 9 was 1137, and then the average on the 40 was 9. Darn it, I forgot. The average on the 40 was 993. So both very consistent. The 40 was 17 feet per second slower, and the 9 was 13 feet per second slower than the average. So we're gonna load up the 357 SIG and check those numbers out. This is the 357 SIG. It is advertised at 1360 feet per second. Let's see how accurate that is. 1299, 1310, 1321, 1321 again. No, missed one. 1319, so it missed one. We're just gonna load up another round. Yeah, just another $2 down the drain. It's for science. It's for science. 1331. All right, let's check that average. the average was 1316. So in terms of the box, the 9 was the closest, followed by the 40, followed by the 357 SIG. How will that all translate into the gel? Let's find out. This table has taken a licking. I wonder how much longer it'll last. All right, let's set the gel up. This is what it takes, folks. Camera for the close-up shot, GoPro for the slow-mo, cell phone for just me shooting back here, nothing special about back here. We're at, I don't know, about 5 yards or so. I do have a second block of gel back there. Let's see how it does. This is the 9mm. Solid hit, got a solid penetration, beautiful expansion, and probably about 15 inches of penetration. I didn't expect anything less. We're going to load up the 40, put that one through the gel. This is the 40. The 40 by far has been the most consistent across the board of all the calibers, all these tests that I've done, 9, 40, 357 SIG. The 40 has performed the most consistent. I expect nothing less from this Federal HST. So, perfect shot, good expansion. Again, I don't expect anything less from the 40 or from the Federal HST. It got virtually the same amount of penetration as the 9. It was maybe 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch short. In terms of where it wound up, I don't know. I don't know where it wound up going through and then coming back. But let's load up the 357 SIG. See if it could beat them both. The 9 and the 40 both performed admirably. How will it do when it's going 300 feet per second faster? Let's find out. 100 foot-pounds more energy. I've got the second block out there. Haven't needed it yet. We've got about 14, 15 inches of penetration. Will this be more? That's why we're here, folks. In the name of science. The second block came in handy. So that one got more than 16 inches of penetration. We're going to go back to the house. We're going to pull them out. We're going to take a look. But about 14 for the, we'll say 15 for the 9. We'll say 14 3/4 for the 40. And we'll say 17 for the 357 SIG. We're going to take it back to the house and examine the projectiles.
Back at the house, recap time. I have been wanting to make this video with the Federal HST for a very, very long time. It is one of the reasons why I got the 3 barrels for that P229 was for the Spear Gold Dot and the Federal HST. And in true fashion of the Federal HST, even the filming of this video was perfect. It was flawless, except for that one shot that didn't register with the 357 SIG. Everything else was absolutely perfect, including the gel test. The gel test in and of themselves, that whole scene took me 5.5 minutes to film, and that's great when you have a YouTube channel and you're pressed for time, just not having to do multiple takes. I'm rambling on, but here we go. The 9mm, a little bit slower than the box, performed very well. The projectile, just true Federal fashion, peeled back beautifully. There's a little bit of gel in the petals, but they all folded back pretty nicely and very uniform expansion. The 40 was a little bit slower than the box again, but it performed well in the gel. The 9mm got about 15 inches of penetration. It kind of went through and came back a little bit. This 40 performed very well as well. Same thing, it went in and came back a little bit shorter penetration than the 9, but with the size of the size comparison of the 9 versus the 40 is, I don't know why people dog it. I really don't. It is really a fantastic caliber, and even expansion on the petals, and just really beautiful expansion again. And then the 357 SIG, it was much slower of the 3 than the box, but still packs quite a punch. You can tell the difference in the projectiles. You can see how this is mashed down just a little bit more, probably because it's traveling a little bit faster and it has more energy. But beautiful expansion again. I mean, you just can't say enough about the Federal HSTs. Really good stuff. So across the board, the 3 projectiles, the 3 calibers, 9, 40, and 357 SIG, all performed amazingly well. This 357 SIG, actually went through the 16 ounces of gel, as you saw, and I finally had a need for a second block of gel, because if I didn't put a second block of gel in there and it went through and I wasn't able to find this, I never would have heard the end of it. So glad that I had that second block of gel. That was one of my shotgun gels, and it's not even worth it to melt down at this point. It is so dirty. I'm just going to use it as a backstop. So perfect recycling of that one. All in all, the Spear Gold Dot, a fantastic round. But in terms of consistency, I believe the Federal HSTs are slightly better. I'll have to find a 380, I'll have to find a 45 and do those tests, really do a whole caliber to check the consistencies. I think that'll be one of the future videos. My father-in-law has a 380 and a 45, so I could do those 5 at least. Those would be pretty popular rounds. I could even go 357 mag 38 special, because I have those as well, and we can do a complete Spear Gold Dot versus Federal HST. But in terms of, I mean, they're basically the same, but I would have to say that the Federal HST is better. It just is. So another thing that we're going to do coming up is we're going to do the denim tests. We're going to do the expansion through some denim, and yeah, we're going to build on this. But really conclusive test. Fantastic round, Federal HST. I had no doubts in my mind. What do you think? Let me know down below. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section below, and we will see you in the next video.